Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server and we're having a look at all of the new vehicles which have been added in this update for the dev server. There's a bunch of them surprisingly, a lot of them are pretty similar, but it kind of shows a general trend of what's going to be coming in the future. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get started. Also, the other thing is we will do another video later on kind of looking at all of the changes. This one is specifically just about the new vehicles because there's so many of them. I thought it'd be better to put it in its own video. So you know how we have the AH-64E for America, which was added in the last update, the big upgrade to the Apache family, because it gave it access to AGM-179s and also the DIRCM and all of those wonderful things. Well, a bunch of other nations now get to also enjoy the AH-64E. We have 4 separate nations that are getting the vehicle. We start off with the British AH-64E. This is basically the same as the American one, apart from it doesn't have its radar modeled, and also it doesn't have its DIRCM. The vehicle does have the AGM-179s, it does get the Stingers in the same configurations, so if you want to take the Stingers, then you need to basically drop a bunch of 179s, which I feel like people aren't going to do. But yeah, apart from that, it's basically exactly the same, and you'll find it at the end of the tech tree for Britain. Not really surprising, and means that Britain now has a fire and forget option for their helicopters. And then we have a next one, which is for Japan. This one is actually an Indonesian AH-64E. Obviously, Gaijin said that Japan was going to get Indonesia and also Thailand as kind of sub-nations, and now we have another Indonesian boyo which is coming in. This vehicle also doesn't have its radar and doesn't have the DIRCM, but it has all of the other stuff, so it has the AGM-179s and also the Stingers 2, plus the Morse system. The interesting thing about this one is just like the other one for Britain, it's the first fire and forget missile heli that the Japanese are getting. This means that I believe there's only one nation left in the game that doesn't have fire and forget capabilities, and that's actually Sweden. So I wonder how they're going to fix that. So then we have another one, which is also coming in. This is the AH-64E for China, specifically the Taiwanese one. Now, what's interesting about this one is you can see a slight difference with it, right? So you don't have the radar once again, it's not modeled, you don't have the DIRCM, but this version actually has the ability to be able to equip Stingers on the side of the vehicle. So what this actually means is you can bring all of the AGM-179s, and also you can bring some Stingers on top of it. Compared to all of the other ones, you're not actually able to do that. So that's kind of cool. That's an ability. I'm hoping that in the future, a bunch of the other ones will also get this ability, since it means that you can do some anti-air and also anti-ground stuff at the same time. All of the modifications are exactly the same, and also the place where you find it in the tech tree is actually in the right-hand tech tree. So you have 2 fire and forget helis now for the Chinese. You have the Z-10ME, and then also you have the AH-64E now, both at 13.0 in ground forces. And then you have another one. So the other one is right here for the Netherlands. Now remember, the Netherlands, or just the Benelux stuff in general, is now in the French tech tree, and that means that French can get another fire and forget vehicle in the form of the AH-64E. Now this one is just like the British one and the Japanese one, doesn't have its radar modeled yet, and also doesn't have a DIRCM, but it gets all of the AGM-179s, and you can't bring along the extra Stingers, which kind of sucks, but it does have the standard setup on it. So yeah, there are 4 new AH-64Es coming in for a bunch of different nations, some which are really nice to see because they don't have fire and forget options. Others, it's just nice to kind of have an extra vehicle. So for example, France has access to the Tiger, which has access to the Spike ERs, right? So this one can actually already bring the fire and forget missiles, but technically with the AH-64E, you double the amount of fire and forget missiles, and then maybe also on top of it, you can get some other stuff too. So yeah, you're getting 4 versions of the AH-64E in this update, which is pretty nuts when you actually think about it. Let's have a look at some other vehicles. Sweden is a nation which hasn't really got a lot of coverage in this last set of dev servers, and the reason is because there hasn't really been anything there. There was one vehicle in the files, and it's now in the game. It's this one, the F-16AM Block 20 MLU for Norway. You can see it after the AGS-37, which is an interesting place to put it, but I suppose they probably just want to thicken out this area of the tech tree instead of it not having anything after it. And all I can say is it's unfinished. So you can see that the hard points are not there yet. They're not kind of sorted, and also there is no extra weaponry. So we'll see what happens with it. Right now it has the AN-APG-66, which is obviously quite a good radar. You also have access to the AN-ALR-56M for its RWR, and, well, 60 countermeasures plus the 20mm, and all of the other things that the pilot gets. The funny thing about this vehicle is this should probably be one of the more, well, the better versions of the F-16. You can see that it's going to be at 13.7, at least for right now, so it'll definitely be AMRAAM capable and also other stuff. You can see it also has its sniper pod modeled, meaning that it could get some ground ordnance, but we'll see what happens with this. Basically, this is here, and just to let you know that it kind of is not fully ready, but it's getting there. Another also change that is coming in for good old China. So you know how there's like all the JH7s now? So you got the JH7A, you got the JH7, and then the JH7A prototype. This prototype was a GE vehicle. It has now been changed to an event or pack premium vehicle. So looks like they're going to sell it as a pack, basically the same as kind of the JH7A. So let's get into the other vehicles they've added. These ones were already in the files, but it's worth kind of covering them. The first one is the PGM-9. This is a kind of interesting motor gunboat. It has the 3-inch Mark 10 on the front, and then also has the dual Bofors 40mm on the back, plus a bunch of 20mm all over it. This is kind of a continuation of another vehicle that we have in the game, which I'm pretty sure is the PC451. Might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's the continuation of that. The PGM-9 you'll find between the Kim Kui and then also the USS Cyclone. All of these vehicles are at 3-3, but they're all at completely different ranks. Looks weird, right? It is kind of funny how that sometimes works. The vehicle has steel armor and also has additional armor on its guns. It has 65 crew and also has some pretty interesting rounds for the 3-inch. You have the HE, you have the AP, and then also you have the HEVT. This thing will be quite nice against certain machines, just kind of donking them for afar with this gun, and then using the 40mm to spray PT boats. Generally, these vehicles don't do exactly very well in naval, just because they're large targets, and also, once again, this is the same BR as the starter destroyers, so just get pieced up and annihilated. So that's not going to work very well. The other vehicle that is also here is the Commandant Dominé. And this is a new French coastal vehicle that's coming in. And I didn't realize when we had a look at it in the files is how silly it looks. So you could see here that this like tower or superstructure, whatever you want to call it, look how tall it is. And then look how like short the rest of the vehicle is. It just sticks out like a sore thumb. The Dominé you can find in the coastal fleet. It's between the Marne and also the Surprise. So that's kind of where it's going to sit. This vehicle has a weird armament. Basically, it has a 40mm Bofors Mark III on the front, which is not a Bofors you usually see. And then also, it has a 105mm, which I'm pretty sure is the German 105mm. It also has 6 20mm, which are kind of scattered around it, just as AA support too. And a 3.3, as I said, is just a very odd armament to have. The vehicle does have a little bit of armor on it, 8mm and then 16mm of hull and a bit of superstructure. It also has 106 crew, which means that it would be more survivable from a bunch of the vehicles. And the other thing that was actually pointed out by Manuel, he sent me a DM about it earlier. This vehicle, right now at least, has 2 steering gears. So it has one in the back of it in like a standard configuration, and then it has one in the front, which doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I think they may have just mirrored it by accident, but it's just kind of interesting to see. It also has the radio station, the bridge, the fire control, and the big tower, and then the engines and the big old funnels in the middle too. It also does have a rangefinder, which is kind of fun for the 105. It just isn't very good, but that's kind of nice to see. The 105 has the HE and then the other HEs that all of the German guns have because they were allergic to AP. And then the 40mm has universal HE and AP2. This vehicle can also bring 2 depth charges, so big numbers on this vehicle too for the depth charge posse. So yeah, that's all the new vehicles that they've added. Quite a lot of them and some pretty cool ones. And what we'll do in the next video is have a look at all of the changes that have come in too. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.